claws in my heart. I can't let go, I'm breaking apart. Controlling me. Controlling me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I hope you're having a wonderful night. Sorry for the little belated entrance, but I just call it fashionably late. I don't know what you call it, but we are here. We love you, and thank you so much for being here because God knows you could do a whole bunch of other things, but you're choosing to be here with us, and that warms my heart. And I know my heart isn't the only warm one here because I got my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard, joining me here in the set.
Are you implying I'm still breathing?
You, as far as I know, you are still kicking.
Okay, hold on. Who is Den Den?
Oh, don't you? No.
I don't know.
Oh, God. You know, well, she started out, this is an Orange County girl in the chat room, and she started the cha-cha thing
Right.
because of the name cha-cha.
Right.
Well, last night another story came up with the name Den Den. She is just incorrigible, that woman. That woman is just incorrigible, I swear.
Wait.
I swear on my mother's grave. Well, she's still alive, but I swear anyway.
Oh, no.
Oh, anyway.
Oh, wow.
What do you do? This is the portal, ladies and gentlemen, and some of it doesn't always make sense. Actually, a lot of it might not make sense, but we're still doing it anyway because it's all we know how to do.
It's what we do best.
You just throw microphones in front of us and we dork for a couple hours, and it's entertainment, I guess.
It is.
So we got that going for us, but I hope you guys are having a great night, and thank you so much for spending it with us. But it's time to get started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're official now. We are underway and rocking the night away. Here on the Paranormal Portal, it's just a regular 2-hour show tonight full of the paranormal and all of the goodies that entails. So how you been, though, Don?
Been good. You know, it's just been, busy. That's how I is.
Yeah, I was talking to Wes today, and he asked about you, and I talked to Merkel last night, and he was asking about you. So
Mr. Tony Lurkel?
Lurkel. He's lurking out there somewhere.
He's here somewhere.
Lurkel, that's my... Yeah, he was saying he wondered where you were. So, but yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, as it is right now, Don can only join us 2 nights a week, but we make sure to work him extra hard during those 2 nights because we...
There he is. He says, watch yourself, Don. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you.
But we can only get Don for 2 nights a week, and that's on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights. But we work the hell out of them on those nights. We just got done doing a podcast a minute ago. We got a really cool podcast coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, but let me just tell you, it's like the mother lode of podcasts. We'll be recording very soon. It's one that I'm sure as hell glad I don't have to miss it.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's one of those shows I can't believe is going to happen, but it's going to happen. So more on that to come, but it's from the great mind of Mr. Wes Germer. That's all I'm going to say. So,
oh boy,
he's the mastermind behind the plan. So it's just going to be great. So more to come on that when we know more and have everything solidified. But I think, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already seen the Confessionals podcast, by all means, check it out. Tony does a brilliant job.
Yes.
He and Wes both have the greatest intros in the world of podcasting. I mean, I literally get chills listening to Tony's intro as well as Wes's.
Right. Yeah.
Because they do all those witness
like
sound bites throughout it. It's just like, oh. And it's just really cool. They're both doing an amazing job. So, but not only for the intro.
Tony says mine's better.
I'm not in the spirit of fairness.
We're neutral in that.
No,
They're just both awesome.
we're just gonna Sweden the hell up on this one. That's all I'm saying. But no, it's and not only is the intro good, but the rest of the show is good too. But I just really love those intros, man. They're just
and
rock
there's
solid.
Wes.
Well, not to start anything, but Tony said his intro is better.
Oh
I'm just saying. Cage fight. It's a cryptid cage match. That's awesome. Merkel says, "Get in your cage, Wes." It's all right here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Paranormal Portal. You can't buy entertainment like this. I wish you could, but currently it's free.
Oh God. Okay, hold on.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
We're off and hidden. I mean, this is
studio is just burning up tonight.
I know it's it's going to be hard to like do the rest of the show now because like the greatest part just happened.
Oh, here's a name I haven't seen before.
What?
Lee McNew with Cryptids, Myths, and Mysteries.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in and checking out the show. We love it. We always love meeting new names.
That's just
we haven't met you in person, but
Well,
we've
you
met
know.
your name.
We'll see your face sometime.
Someday.
We'll troll your page
Yeah,
in a good way.
We'll stalk you. It's just what we do. But welcome everybody to the show. Now, here's something kind of cool that I was. What the hell was I just thinking about? I did this when I was talking about
You did that earlier. It's like,
I know.
what was I doing?
Oh my!
You didn't
God.
get up and leave the room. You can't forget.
I think I might have stroked out sometime today. Is what's going on. But there was something I wanted to bring up, and God bless it, I can't remember. Oh well, that's what happened. I actually thought of it when I was in the bathroom. Full disclosure, I was in there and went, ooh, I should talk about that. And well,
Oh my God!
I'm just, I feel comfortable with our audience.
Apparently so.
So there are some things that I would really like to talk about. This one I just came upon today, and I haven't even read this, but this sounds really cool. And it's the strange link between the human mind and quantum physics, ladies and gentlemen. So apparently quantum physics is kind of starting to bridge the gap between science and spirit. And I think that's really cool. I really like some of the strides that are coming with potentially demonstrating an immortality that many of us have long believed through all time, basically. Ever since we've had the idea of a religion, there's the idea of immortality of the soul. Well, quantum mechanics seems to be demonstrating that bridge is not only plausible but imperative. So let's see if that's the case. In this article, I haven't read it. I just pulled it up and I went, ooh, we should talk about this. So this part I did remember, ladies and gentlemen. So, that's not all bad. It says, what the hell is it? Start. That's a weird start. I can't believe, or let me just say where this is coming from first. It's coming from the BBC, so this is from their Earth pages or whatever. But it says, I cannot define the real, Jesus.
Take 3.
And cut. What's my name? What's my motivation? And action.
Wow.
I can't define the real problem. Therefore, I suspect there's no real problem, but I'm sure there's no real problem. What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Was that deja vu?
The American physicist Richard Feynman, Feynman, I think that's Feynman, said this about the notorious puzzles and paradoxes of quantum mechanics, the theory physicists use to describe the tiniest objects in the universe, but he might as well have been talking about the equally knotty problem of consciousness. Some scientists think we already understand what consciousness is, or that it's a mere illusion, but many others feel we've not grasped where consciousness comes from at all. The perennial puzzle of consciousness has even led some researchers to invoke quantum physics to explain it. That notion has always been met with skepticism, which is not surprising. It does not sound wise to explain one mystery with another, but such ideas are not obviously absurd, and neither are they arbitrary. Ooh, I feel smarter just reading this.
He used the word arbitrary.
I did. For one thing, the mind seemed, to the great discomfort of physicists, to force its way into early quantum theory. What's more, quantum computers are predicted to be capable of accomplishing things ordinary computers cannot, which reminds us of how our brains can achieve things that are still beyond artificial intelligence. Quantum consciousness is widely defined as mystical woo, but it just will not go away. Quantum mechanics is the best theory we have to describing the world at the nuts and bolts level of atoms and subatomic particles. Perhaps the most renowned is its mystery is the fact that the outcome of a quantum experiment can change depending on whether or not we choose to measure some property of the particles involved. When this observer effect was first noticed by the early pioneers of quantum theory, they were deeply troubled. It seemed to undermine the basic assumption behind all science that there is an objective world out there, irrespective of us. If the way we look at the world depends on how or if we look at it, what can reality really mean? Boom. Now that's really deep. That's something that philosophers have been saying forever. If the tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Well, only if there's someone there to hear it, apparently. Right, Don?
Yes.
Are you with me, Don?
Yes, actually, I am.
Did I lose you back?
No. I'm here.
Okay, all right. Some of those researchers felt forced to conclude that objectivity was an illusion and that consciousness has to be allowed an active role in quantum theory. To others, that didn't make sense. Surely Albert Einstein once complained the moon does not exist only when we look at it. Today, some physicists suspect that whether or not consciousness influences quantum mechanics, it might in fact arise because of it. They think that quantum theory might be needed to fully understand how the brain works. Mm-hmm. Might it be just as quantum objects can apparently be in two places at once, so a quantum brain can hold on to two mutually exclusive ideas at the same time? I don't even know what that means.
Thought you said you feel smarter.
I did feel smarter, but now I'm starting to think about what I'm reading. I'm like, I like pie. These ideas are speculative, and it may turn out that quantum physics has no fundamental role either for or in the workings of the mind. But nonetheless, but if nothing else, these possibilities show just how strangely quantum theory forces us to think. And, of course, they do show the double slit experiment.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool. And, ladies and gentlemen, the slit experiment basically was the experiment changed based on whether or not it was observed. So when nobody was watching, as far as a conscious person watching, the light passed through both, the photons passed through both slits at the same time, and it acted more like a wave. The light only became a particle when it was observed, and then it would either go through the left or right slit. So they definitely showed that by observing that experiment, it definitely changed the behavior of it.
Right.
And so that's kind of the conundrum of, wow, and I think that really demonstrates that we create reality. I mean, we really do. But anyway, the most famous intrusion of the mind into quantum mechanics comes from the double slit experiment. Imagine shining a beam of light at a screen that contains two closely spaced parallel slits. Some of the light passes through the slits, whereupon it strikes another screen. Light can be thought of as a kind of wave, and when waves emerge from two slits like this, they can interfere with each other. If their peaks coincide, they reinforce each other, whereas if a peak is and a trough coincide, they cancel out. This wave interference is called diffraction, and it produces a series of alternating bright and dark stripes on the black screen. So I guess I just totally brutalized that whole experiment prior to reading this. So where the light waves are either reinforced or canceled out. This experiment was understood to be characteristic of wave behavior over 200 years ago, well before quantum theory existed. The double experiment can also be performed with quantum particles like electrons, tiny charged particles that are components of atoms. In a counterintuitive twist, these particles can behave like waves. Okay, I'm right again. All right, good. I thought I just totally beat that up, but I've been vindicated, Don. And that means they can undergo diffraction when a stream of them passes through the two slits, producing an interference pattern. Now, suppose that the quantum particles are sent through the slits one by one, and their arrival at the screen is likewise seen one by one. Now, there is apparently nothing for each particle to interfere with the longest route, yet nevertheless, the pattern of particle impacts that build up over time reveals interference bands. The implication seems to be that each particle passes simultaneously through both slits and interferes with itself. This combination of both paths at once is known as a superposition state. But here's the real odd thing.
Oh, it's just now getting odd.
So the rest of that was not odd, Don. That was normal.
Oh, gotcha.
So we're gonna get to the odd now. If we place a detector inside or just behind one of the slits, we can find out whether any given particle goes through it or not. In that case, however, the interference vanishes. Simply by observing a particle's path, even if that observation should not disturb the particle's motion, we change the outcome. The physicist Pascual Jordan, and I might not be pronouncing that anywhere near its normal sound, but that's how it sounds in my head. So, who worked with the quantum guru Niels Bohr in Copenhagen in the 1920s, put it like this: observations not only disturb what has to be measured, they produce it. We compel a quantum particle to assume a definite position. In other words, Jordan said, we ourselves produce the results of measurements. And if that's so, the objective reality seems to go out the window, and it gets even stranger. And wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more strangeness arriving.
So if nature seems to be changing its behavior depending on whether we look or not, we could try to trick it into showing its hand. To do so, we could measure which path a particle took through the double slits, but only after it has passed through them. By then, it ought to have decided whether to take one path or both. An experiment for doing this was proposed in the 1970s by the American physicist John Wheeler, and his delayed choice experiment was performed in the following decade, and it uses clever techniques to make measurements on the paths of quantum particles, generally particles of light called photons, after they should have chosen whether to take one path or the other, or a superposition of two. It turns out that, just as Bohr confidently predicted, it makes no difference whether we delay the measurement or not, as long as we measure the photon's path before its arrival at a detector. It is finally registered. We lose all interference. It is as if nature knows not just if we are looking, but if we are planning to look. Wow, that's profound. This sounds like it might be too deep for the show.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
Nellie just asked, I wonder if Brent thought we needed to be educated. I need to be educated because a lot of what you just said went right over my head. But I have views in regarding these things.
Well, I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there may be a test, so you definitely want to pay attention.
it's pass fail.
That's right. There'll be no true false. No, I mean, but it is cool. So I wanted to. I guess this goes on for an awful long time.
Oh my, that's really big.
It is really big. I just want to. This is going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. So let's just suffice it to say, it's cool. All right, I thought that was cool, Don.
Well, while you were reading what I understood, I was thinking about the way we see things physically. First of all of the images that we see are actually upside down as it goes through the optic nerve and it bounces into the brain. Then it flips it over, and then we see things upside right. Not only that, but we also have an affinity to the color blue, and then of course rods and cones decipher the color and the actual physical, shape and things of what we see. So through all this processing our brain what does it process out that we can't see? So say, let's talk about ghosts. A lot of people say, well, I looked outside of my, I looked out, I looked out that way, okay. And, and I saw the shadow and I looked right at it and it was gone. Mm-hmm. Okay, so kind of the same thing, what he was talking about particles, is when you view them is when it decides where it goes. Because I've read a lot of things that say, if I'm looking at the camera, the things on the left and the right and above and around are not there. It's only the camera because that's what I'm looking at. And I create everything else around it from my memory, but I can't, it's not actually there. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think I do.
so, you know, but I mean, the only thing that's actually there physically is what you're looking at the time. Everything around it is memory. So there may not be, you know, you got your vase of feathers over here, you know, and
Right.
you've got your backpack over there. But if I'm not looking at them, they're not actually there because the brain's not processing that. It's remembering it. What it's processing is me looking at the camera. So quantum physics, there's something there, but we don't know what it is until we actually look at it because the light hasn't hit it yet, or our eyes hasn't processed it yet. But it's persistence of vision
Sure.
that continues the memory of what was beside it. So
Very cool.
I don't know.
That's very cool. You know, again, this article is going to get a hell of a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's going to go down a whole lot more rabbit holes.
It's
In
got
fact,
a Warren down
it may
there.
take like a, you know, by the length of this, it may take a full hour to get through.
So Julia says, so does Brent and Dawn really, are Brent and Dawn really live? Do they even exist? Oh, that's an existential question.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, and there's also I don't know how long it is, but everything that we've done has already been done. We're just processing it now. So there's a lag between what we see and when we actually do it. That's another thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, anyhow, I think we just blew that circuit.
Yeah.
You know, Wes said he studied some quantum physics in college,
Oh, really?
and then
Well, it'd be-
Tony asked, "Did you actually go to college?"
And the battle continues.
These guys are good tonight. They're good. God, it's just awesome. They're actually talking tonight.
Yeah. Germer takes the mic, and Merkel hits him with a chair. It's like WWE. in here.
WWE. And over the top rope he goes.
Oh my
Bell,
god!
what bell? No stinking bell up in here. Anyhow, so
It
I'm
appears
sorry.
Merkel's beard is caught in the ropes, and Germer comes up behind him.
Oh boy, don't talk about those guys.
Oh, they're great. I didn't think.
Well,
they
they offered it up.
they're awesome. It's a
Oh,
good talk.
goodness.
It's a good time, guys. But I think that's about all I'm going to read of that article because
My brain's fried. I might start talking about black-eyed beans again.
I'll be drooling in the corner. I like pie. I like pie.
3.14.
So, oh, that's hilarious.
boy.
All right, so let's move on from that. Well, it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure how far that rabbit hole is going to go.
Yeah, no doubt.
It just seems like it's. My God. How many-
That's a conversation we have to have with Mr. Brooks.
Well, you know, speaking of that was the podcast today. It was a episode we did with Brooks Agnew, and it was
that was
really,
today, huh?
yeah, it was really, really deep and in depth.
Brain burner.
Yeah, he would actually be a great one to discuss that with because you're right. I mean, he could break all that down really well. I understand what I'm reading, but it's like, oh, but that's like most of our discussions with Brooks anyway. When he's
That's
on the
true.
show, it's like, oh my God.
We're just kind of drooling.
Yeah, it's just like,
Brain burn.
oh, really?
As a matter of fact, at one point in that, I said, I just kind of melted.
Yeah, that was the first time he was on. You were like, I can't think anymore. It was funny. It was a good time. It's always a good time here in the Portal, right? Don?
I have to agree.
All right. So,
Oh, Tony even liked the show. That's awesome.
oh, very cool.
We'll post the second half next Wednesday.
Yes, so it's a two-parter. So the second half of that conversation will be next week. But unfortunately, the connection was really loud, and there was nothing we could do at that time to fix it. So
Yeah, he was in a hotel.
he was in a hotel. And,
Hotel internet
yeah,
sucks.
yeah, I can tell you that from my last couple weekends ago, or was it last weekend? When the hell was I gone, Don?
The weekend before.
Oh, okay.
It's been a week and a half now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, well, the internet there was terrible, but the whole place was terrible. There wasn't even a refrigerator in our room, or an iron, or a coffee maker.
What?
Yeah, I mean nothing.
How can you survive without a coffee maker in a room?
Believe me,
I'd be eating the dry grounds.
I was scratching on the I was scratching on the window like a kitten. I need coffee.
No coffee.
It was not. I mean, I was. I really was not happy. Yeah, that's a hotel I'll never go to again. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was a good time getting out of town and doing all that. It was a whiplash journey, but yeah, I was really disappointed in that. It wasn't a good stay.
Oh goodness. Well, at least it was only one night, wasn't? No, it was 2 nights, wasn't it? It was like Friday night and Saturday night.
Yeah, it was 2 nights, and unfortunately, it was a busy weekend in Boise, so like there was no place open anywhere, so we were kind of stuck.
Let's see. Let's see here. I wonder if there was a UFO sighted in Boise.
Oh, that's right. You got some UFO stuff to go through.
Well, yeah. So, I do have some UFO stuff pulled up, but
Okay.
Here Boise had. Okay, so this is why this isn't what I was looking at. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to go. May 23rd. Oh, this is about May, not June. So I guess that. Oh no, it was May. That was a week and a half ago. Today's only the 3rd, Dawn. No, I don't see anything for those particular days you were there.
Oh, okay. Well, just pull up something.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, what do you see, Don?
Welcome
to the show.
Hi, how are you? So on March 21st in Nampa, someone told UFO Reporting Center, the UFO Reporting Center, we were walking along Lake Lowell as 3 incredibly bright lights appeared in a triangle formation moving across the sky. Oh, here we go with the triangle formations again.
Ooh, so it's a triangle formation, but then not a triangle craft.
Well, now it just says 3 lights in a triangle formation. So
TR3B.
TR3B, yes, exactly. Which brings me to the Bob Lazar thing about talking about the 3 generators that he saw and this, that, and the other. And I wonder if that has any connection with the way these TR3Bs, the Black Mantas, are configured. So interesting. On May 23rd, a Meridian resident saw this. A mothership-sized cylinder cigar object with 6 lights moving west to east. Well, that sounds like they were heading over to Duke's area. They can keep them over there. And that's actually, where's the other one? There was supposed to be 3. It doesn't say there was March 21st in Nampa, the 23rd. I feel cheated. There's no 3rd one here. Nope. Anyhow. Oh boy. Where's my mashed taters?
Time to get back in the closet. Just
May was
kidding.
over a month ago. Well, that's true. But then again, May was over a month ago. But the point is that they haven't collected the information. Oops. They haven't collected the information from June yet. It hasn't been centralized yet. Aussie Tiger. Hold on. We'll get there.
What fell?
Oh, I accidentally hit the incense burner.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They didn't actually fall. But
All
anyhow.
right,
So, yeah. So, fine. Be that way. Be technical on me, Aussie. So, that's actually... Well, I do have this. And I lost it. Back to you, Brent.
Okay. All right. I got a Sasquatch story.
Oh, excellent.
That I think might be good. And this is from apparently 2011, so it's kind of old, but some of the greatest stories are old ones. Anyway, let's see. This is from where though? I got to find out. I think it was Minnesota, but I'm not sure. Minnesota. St. Louis County. Okay, 2 harbors. All right. So I think this is way up in the Duluth area, but I'm not sure. Oh man, the font sucks. It says, I was scouting a few areas for an expedition in a week or so with my friend A, his wife, and 2 young boys. We checked out a couple of areas that I had already investigated previously. A wanted to go to the 3rd site to check it out for as long as he was up for the weekend. And when we arrived at the area, which was around an hour from other locations, we found that the county road gate was still closed and locked. They locked them for the winter, and I apologized, and A stated that he wanted to walk in and see the area, and I thought it would make a good base camp. And I told him it was about 2.5 miles in, and he discussed it with his wife, and We decided we would make the trek, and we grabbed what we needed, locked our vehicles, and headed down the road. As we were walking along, talking a little, the boys were getting a little tired from the walking, and we're a little Rammy? What the hell's Rammy?
Rummy.
It says Rammy.
I know, but people can't spell.
Okay. And they were turning around, chasing each other, and dragging sticks on the road. And we went on for around a block and a half, and maybe two, when we got to a spot where a small creek went under the road through a culvert. And it was a very brushy along the creek, and all of a sudden, the woods broke out in screams and chatter. The best way to describe the sound would be like a small group of apes that were startled. This lasted maybe 10 to 15 seconds, and then silence. Nothing at all. As quickly as it all started, it stopped. And we all stood there staring at each other in disbelief when we heard a very clear knock in the distance. And then another knock from another different location, followed by another from a totally different direction. Then there were 5 separate knocks, and again, all went quiet. We waited a little while and decided to continue on our way, and we decided to let A's wife and the boys walk together behind us, but within view, to see if we could encourage more activity. Being as it was a warm spring day, the frogs were chirping all throughout the woods as A and I walked and talked like normal. The frogs continued to chirp on both sides of the road, but A's wife and boys followed us. The frogs on the right side went silent. A's wife also stated that she could hear something following them in a ways. Oh, it was in the woods a ways. And this continued until we got to the area of higher and drier ground, which was an old logging landing. The spot was a mix of large old growth pines and younger pine saplings, and as it appeared that the years prior it had been thinned out, and this area was basically a hump of higher ground in the middle of some large spruce swamps dotted with rivers, lakes, and ponds. When we arrived at the landing, A's family decided to sit for a bit and rest their legs, and having been there before and viewed the area from Google Earth, I wanted to check out the big swamp to the north, and I told A I was going to go take a look and headed north to the edge of the swamp. The swamp was a peat moss and spruce swamp. The edge of the swamp was around 150 yards or so from where A and his family were. And when I got to the edge, I radioed A and told him I was going to head north into the swamp a ways to see if I could find any trails and such. I proceeded somewhere around another 100 yards or so and turned east. A little while after changing direction, I jumped something that went crashing straight north. Whatever it was, it didn't try to be quiet at all. It just busted its way through the trees. I radioed A and told him I think just startled a moose. It was so thick in there I couldn't see more than 10 yards tops. I continued heading east for a ways and radioed A again and asked if they were still at the landing, and he replied that he was walking a trail from the landing to the east. And I said that I would head south and meet him on that trail. As I exited the swamp, the terrain became easier to walk, but was littered with debris, and when they had logged it, so as I walked, I had to keep an eye on the ground so as not to trip over anything, and I'd walked maybe 40 yards or so when I looked up and saw a large, dark, upright being run across from right to left in front of me at a range of around 65 yards. That was 65 in case my tongue screwed that up. I witnessed it take 3 full strides and it was gone. It all happened so fast, I didn't hear anything at all. It was very large, very dark brown or black, and it did not run but was taking long steps with the arms swinging like a person trying to step as far as they could. It all happened so fast it caught me off guard, and as soon as I had seen it, I radioed A and asked him to do a howl, and he replied, "Okay, howl in 20 seconds. When he howled, I could hear A to the southwest of my location, and I asked him to stay where as I had just seen something and needed to walk to the spot. As I was walking up there, I asked him if he could see me. He at first said he could not, and then said he did, and he was now to my west. He then came over to me and asked about what I had seen, and I told him, and pointed out the 2 large trees it had run behind. A said to go back to the spot I was at when I had seen it and tell him how big it looked in comparison to him. So I started walking back to where it was when I had seen it and had gotten about halfway when he radioed and he said he found footprints. I turned and looked at him and stated it was at least twice as big as him, meaning that it was twice as bulky and taller. He stated he was going to follow it and said to wait there for his family. I did and explained to his wife what I had seen when she arrived, and A then radioed and he said he had followed the tracks to the edge of a thick spruce swamp and felt like he was being watched. He said he was not going to go into the swamp as he felt it did not want him in there. Jeez. When he returned, we followed the tracks in reverse and discovered more tracks, one of which was in the clear pine needles. It was about 18 inches long. The tracks had been paralleling A and his family. Apparently, he was watching them through the smaller pines and was startled by my appearance. My sighting was very quick, but I clearly saw it take 3 full strides before it was out of sight, and I could not see any details or the face as it never turned to look my way. The distance between the tracks were around 7 to 10 feet. Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never mind. It says 7 feet toe to heel. Sorry. So I thought that the TO was a 10. It's terrible to read this font though. It's a light gray font, tiny on a light gray background.
It's peach.
Peach? I don't know what the hell it is, but it sucks to read. But good story. There's not much else with that one, but good sighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it is. What do you think?
I think I'd still have to, get a new pair of undies. But I don't know why anybody would go out there and howl. That makes totally no sense to me.
Right, yeah. Well,
no.
I don't know how that works either. And granted, now I watched a lot of Finding Bigfoot when it first came out, and went, through the whole season. I watched it as often as I could because I always liked the town hall meetings. I thought those were really cool when people got up and said, "Hey, we saw this and this and this," and they describe it. And sometimes they would pick certain stories to go check out, and it was interesting to hear what people had experienced. But I don't think they were ever going to find anything going out there with 25 people crews.
Right. Yeah, with lights and cameras.
Yeah, and sound booms and stuff like that. And, the other part is as usual, one of my big pet peeves of all of that is the camera right on the face of the people. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't care what they look like,
We're not out there looking for them.
Yeah, it's like we found them. Where's the Bigfoot, Finding Bigfoot, and all they had was cameras on their face, It's like, okay, here's my scared face.
A case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like, okay. And they used to do that all the time in the paranormal shows too, and it drove me crazy. It's like, why not show us what you're seeing? Even if it's just a hallway, it's going to be better than looking up your nostril for an hour. I mean, really, it's just ridiculous. And I suppose it's all built around the idea that they want to create a familiarity with the researcher and an emotional bond with them, what they're going through. But it's like, come on, I don't know. I would, you might get a couple clips of where they're walking, and then it's the face cameras for 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. It's like, don't follow it. Don't look up from the trail, that you're looking at. Don't look up and see if there's something standing 20 feet from you.
Yeah.
But cut over to, oh my God, we found a footprint. So, congratulations. Let's find Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly. And then going out in the wilderness and I don't know. I know what people I know sound like, It's like somebody couldn't go outside my house and say, "Brent, this is Don."
I don't know why anybody would do that.
Like, no, that doesn't sound like Don. I know Don. That's not him, So I'm sure that their voices are so much more deep and have a different resonance than ours.
Exactly,
and, it'd be like Urkel showing up and trying to do Mr. T or something. It's just like, he doesn't have the chest cavity. You can't talk like this,
Right.
And it's just a reference to the fact that we are much smaller physically and probably can't create sounds that are going to sound just like them.
Right.
Now, I believe there are people that know how to call them in, but
Right.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I'm not sure that going out with 20 people and knocking on trees and yelling into the woods is probably going to get you much results. So again, I don't think they ever found Bigfoot, but they found sponsors. So that's what carries it.
They found the cha-ching.
That's right. So anyway, good Bigfoot story. I thought that would be fun to read.
Sure.
What do you got, Don?
Well, I found this article that sounds interesting. It says why the UFO story is far more interesting than you think. And this was written in May, which was 2 months ago, Aussie. It says the New York Times has made waves with a new report on sightings by the U.S. aviators of unidentified flying objects between 2014 and 15. But the UFO issue, which follows a similar 2017 story, is far more interesting than the reporters are letting on. The U.S. government does not know what these UFO actually are. The report focuses on witnesses of so-called tic-tacs, but other shapes and sizes of UFOs have also been credibly recorded by U.S., British, Chinese, Russian, and other governments for the past 65 years. But what are these strange things? Most informed individuals I've talked to believe that the tic-tac-like UFOs are unmanned vehicles operating under direction from either a manned or a larger unmanned vessel. A particularly interesting evidentiary point, I said evidentiary, here is that the witness testimony by Commander David Fravor during his time as commanding officer for the Naval Fighter Squad assigned to the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. In 2004, the Nimitz incident, Fravor describes seeing both the tic-tacs and something in the water. Looks like waves are going to crash over the top and you're going to get this white water. Some discredit these witness reports. The New York Times reports, for example, interviews astrophysicist Leon Golub. Golub suggests that the aircrew testimony is a result of bugs in the code for imaging and display systems, atmospheric effects, and reflections, neurological overloads from multiple inputs during high-speed flight. I strongly disagree because the credible witness statements are numerous, matched the data, recordings, and associated a far larger set of similar incidents currently not public. But while the natural phenomena such as that under the theoretical phenomena of ball lightning is a strong possibility in some UFO cases, I strongly believe other UFOs reported by naval aviators and other military professionals are not natural phenomena. First, UFOs have repeatedly shown what seems to be an intelligence of their operation and behavior response to manned aircraft and monitoring systems in their vicinity. I'm led to believe that the Russians, including the Soviet era, have repeatedly tried and failed to shoot down UFOs, which have practiced evasive techniques. In addition, UFOs have shown the ability to travel at hypersonic speeds with anti-gravity characteristics. Some underwater phenomena are also called supercavitation speeds of hundreds of miles per hour underwater.
Wow.
Note that when it comes to underwater objects, the recorded size indicates that they are not torpedoes or vessels of known types. Third, UFOs manifest a continuing special interest in military nuclear technology. I believe it's notable that credible sightings began following the first use of atomic weapons. Former nuclear forces officers have testified that UFOs have, on occasion, even deactivated U.S. nuclear missiles during test operations. One of our guests, Jim Mount, talked about that a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Disabling those silos and such.
Uh-huh.
Fourth, UFOs often show evidence of plasma manipulation, possibly in relation to manifest cloaking capabilities. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
I am also extraordinarily confident these UFOs are not the creation of any current government or private interest. They are definitely not U.S. in origin, and they are far more advanced in advance of the Chinese and Russian capabilities, including the field of hypersonic capabilities, which the Russians lead in. So where does this leave us? Well, with many questions and need to do more research.
Cool.
Fortunately, albeit secretly, the U.S. government continues to do just that as a private interest.
We got a phone call.
Oh.
Do you want to go to that?
Yeah, let's go to that because it goes into Tom DeLonge from there, and
Okay.
I'm not as excited about that part.
Not the one. All right. Well, Anonymous is on the air.
Yeah, let's go to that because it goes into Tom DeLonge from there, and I'm
Okay.
not as excited about that part.
Not the one. All right. Well,
Hello.
Hi. Who are we speaking with?
Hello. Tony Merkel.
Yeah, that's what I thought. How you doing, Tony?
Our own feed came back at us
Yeah,
there.
it
I was
did.
like, what?
Fed back.
Yeah, no, I had the wrong button on. Sorry about that.
No worries, brother. Welcome to the show. Good to see you or hear you.
Yeah, good to hear you and see you and talking UFOs and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's the flavor of the day, I guess. You know, we just did a podcast about UFO stuff too, so it kind of carried into it pretty nice. So, how's your night going?
Yeah, absolutely. Going good. Just sitting here listening to you guys, vaping and drinking water.
There you go. Water's important.
Did you get West all taken care of then?
Got him locked down in the basement right now.
Basement, yes.
That'll do it. That'll do it, brother. So, how's things?
Yeah, man.
How's things on the confessionals? That was an amazing show. Last show was absolutely amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought it was a unique story for sure. When he emailed me, usually I schedule people and, they have to wait their turn kind of thing. And when he sent me that story, I was just like, are you free tomorrow? It's like, I gotta talk to you. So I was pretty excited to hear the story and stuff. And, people have been seeming like they enjoyed it a lot, which is cool. So yeah, I thought it was fun. Lots of fun.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard that episode, please go over and check out the Confessionals podcast. There's a cryptid described in there that defies all explanation. I mean, I'd never even heard of something like that before, but wow, great story.
Yeah, and it was like that was the twist on the end of it. It was just like, what is going on here? I mean, it was a weird enough story, and it had like little splashes of maybe paranormal, especially like the house with the furniture on the ceiling. But when they were getting chased out of there by these upright deer, that was different. I was just like, what the heck? And he actually sent me the coordinates and the satellite image of the house next to the quarry that he was talking about and everything. And it's definitely an exclusive area. And if I ever get out to, let's just say the neck of the woods that he told me it was at, I'm definitely going to be going there and looking for some interesting things. I would love to see that house with all that stuff inside. I wonder if it's even still like that or not, but who knows? Time will tell, I guess, if I ever get out that way.
I didn't catch on this story. How long ago did he say it happened?
Well, he said it was in high school, and I don't know how old he is now, but he's a friend of mine on Facebook, and judging by his pictures, he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, wow. So it's been
probably about 20, 30 years ago, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably not running down to the Home Depot to get new shingles and stuff on that house. Yeah.
Yeah, I just I found that story interesting, but I think I actually, when I'm done listening to you guys tonight, I think I'm going to actually put together another show and put one out for tomorrow for the holiday, so people have something to listen to while they're driving around and watching fireworks and stuff.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's amazing. Yeah.
Public service done by Tony Merkel.
That's right. He's being patriotic and giving. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So the UFO disclosure and stuff, you guys are reading about that, the tic-tac-toes and all that stuff, or not tic-tac-toes, tic-tac UFOs.
Right.
But what do you guys think about it? I mean, the government comes out and pretty much confirms that, yeah, it's happening, and our our military servicemen have been seeing them, and we're giving them a place now to truly disclose what they're seeing. And it's, you know, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But like in 2017, the government came out with the, you know, yeah, we spent $22 million of the Pentagon budget to investigate UFOs. And but nobody was really, you know, worried about it back then, because we were worried about, you know, the political atmosphere in the country and things like that. They barely touched on it. Right. And now they're acting like it's all news. It's like they said it 2 years ago. You just weren't listening. Right, you know, right. I don't know. What do you guys think about all of that stuff? Where are we going right now with the whole UFO thing? Well, you know, with disclosure.
The thing that occurs to me is that I think $22 million will buy you like a notepad and a pen in DC, and that's about it. So I mean, it's not really a big budget, you know. Yeah. I'm not sure how many people they had like doing the investigations, but it almost seems like it's kind of like you know, sending the get well card instead of the bouquet of roses. It's just like, yeah, we'll throw some money at that so it looks like we're doing something, but I think really that those pilots are probably seeing a lot of crazy stuff, but this is all that's just trickled down to us. I don't know. It seems to me to be like the baby steps towards disclosure of some kind.
Like a soft disclose.
Yeah. What do you think, Don?
You know, I think it's interesting that, you know, it's taken them this long. I mean, you know, you would talk about Bob Lazar, you know, we you know, he's been hot on Netflix, you know, for the last 2 months now, you know, and it was interesting that he was rated during the actual taping of it was during when he was doing the interviews and stuff, he was rated by the, you know, the alphabet soup. But, you know, I mean, that's 30 years ago. That was 1980. And, you know, that was a long time ago that he's telling us about this. But then, you know, we also have, you know, all the reports from everybody, you know, there, you know, let's not take in consideration Paul Hellyer or anything. Let's just go past that, you know, but we have so much information. We have so many, you know, people who claim to have witnessed, you know, all these things up close and personal. But at some point you have to wonder, I wonder, why is Bob Lazar still breathing? You know, I mean, if you say something sideways about a politician nowadays, you end up suicided.
I think that's just Clinton's.
I wasn't going to go there, but you know what I'm saying. So, you know, I mean, but, and Bob Lazar has been allowed to talk about it for 30 years. But the thing is he's only talked about it like 4 or 5 times in these years, you know, and he really doesn't like talking about it because every time he opens his mouth, he gets raided. You know, that's all there is to it. It might have something to do with the claim that he might have some element 115 somewhere that we still don't know, you know. Right. And I was thinking about all this just last night. I was working. I'm like, well, why is Bob Lazar still talking? You know, and then, you know, but I think it's because it's balanced by Tom DeLonge, you know. It's balanced by these other guys that are just out there, you know.
Well, you know, be nice. I know what you're saying, but
you know, they're out there. It's like, you know, okay, it's like mountain monsters versus, you know, fighting Bigfoot. I mean, come on.
Mountain monsters is like Scooby-Doo for adults.
I absolutely agree. But I think, you know, the Chinese have always said we've got aliens living with us. They've been saying it for 40, 50 years now. You know, and, you know, we go back to Roswell 47, you know, and you know, all this kind of things. You know, it may be a soft disclosure. It may still just be a lot of disinformation out there. But I personally believe there's something out there, certainly extraterrestrial, maybe interdimensional, maybe inner Earth. Who knows? I mean, because I do love the idea of Hollow Earth, and I do love the idea that a lot of these come from. Well, Phil Schneider said it. You know, that, you know, maybe they're not, you know, extraterrestrial, they're interterrestrial or intraterrestrial. You know, so, you know, I like the idea. I don't believe we were put here by a bunch of angels, you know, and if we were, why not call the angels aliens, you know? So I don't know if that makes any much sense, but I do believe that something's coming. There's going to be some kind of disclosure regarding aliens because we've been asking the question too long. As a matter of fact, there was, I think it was more of a meme than anything, but there's a day set up like September 20th or something like that. That's been going around. Let's storm Area 51. They
Oh,
can't
God.
stop all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, dummy, go ahead.
I don't
I
think-
bet you they can.
I know that.
But I mean, I would love to go watch it.
Apparently, they've never heard of machine
funny-
guns.
Yeah, the funny thing is, Area 51 is pretty much like a ghost town
Yeah.
compared to what it used to be now. I mean, let's go storm it when there's nothing there now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what they should be saying is, let's go storm Wright-Patterson. That's where we should be storming.
Dugway.
Wow. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen so much mainstream media, quote unquote, disclosure
Right.
in my lifetime.
Right.
And I can't think of a time that I've heard of such stuff going on, to the point now that people who think I'm goofy for the things that I do are talking to me about what they saw in the news. Like, yeah, I
Right.
know. I've heard about that for 2 years now. You're just catching up.
Right.
Like, it's actually kind of irritating at times. Just like, whatever. Like, I know this. Like, talk to me about something new. But I don't know. Like, I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm thinking, this really sounds, because they're saying things like, we can tell you it's not us. We don't know who it is.
Right.
We don't know where they're coming from. They're doing things that we don't know how to do.
Right.
And which I think is a lie in itself, to be honest with you. But I think they know a lot more, and they have a lot more technology in what they're telling us, which is fine, because for national security purposes, I don't need to know everything that you have.
Right. And I don't
But
wanna-
it's like, if you look at it, I'm thinking to myself, all right, so let's just say 10 years from now, it's now like common knowledge that, yep, UFOs are real. We weren't sure what was inside these things, but now we're 99% sure it's an extraterrestrial being that are piloting these things.
Yeah.
What does that do for every other topic for the last 50, 60, 100 years that people have been saying, you're crazy, you didn't see a wild hairy man?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, everybody that's not into these topics, I would think, would have to sit back and be like, all this time, I thought UFOs weren't real,
Right.
and now they're real.
Yeah.
I thought that aliens weren't real, and now they're real. What else is real that I made fun of before?
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, they say,
Hold on,
it
hold
took.
on a sec.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say that that's
Ghost app.
the
Ghost app.
The ghost app just went off, but I just want to say special thanks to Mr. Wes Germer for working hard to title our episode. He said you guys should. He said you should title the show "How We Got Demonetized on YouTube."
Well, letting me talk on the show and stuff will get you demonetized, because I sometimes say some crazy, stupid stuff that probably shouldn't be said.
No, go ahead, brother. You got the floor. I love it all. That's awesome. But go ahead,
Well,
Don.
there's some things that I won't even say on my show, because I want my show to continue to exist.
Right. Oh, I got you. So we're your dumping point. Gotcha. But what I was going to say, because you mentioned, about the hairy man, and I finally, people are finally coming forward with that. I read somewhere, and I've known this, but, just recently I was reminded that, it took like 50 years to find the mountain gorillas, and it took, 80 years to find the pandas. And somebody's asking, well, why is it taking so long for us to find Bigfoot? Well, here's a couple thoughts. First of all, we're lazy. We can't observe the natural order of things as humans. But then again, let's think about pandas. Why did it take us 60 years? Because we really didn't believe it was there. And then finally, somebody stumbled across this lazy, fat, black and white bear thing and went, oh, they're real. And, consider that, 75% of our planet's still unexplored, by foot, on foot, boots on the ground, but then again, let's say, okay, the mountain ape, the mountain gorilla, okay, yeah, it took us 50 years to get there because we were working on hearsay, and so, yeah, when we finally got it narrowed down, it was found. Now, here's the real kicker, though. We believe if there is a Sasquatch, the Sasquatch has decided not to be anywhere near us, and they seem to be a lot smarter than a stupid, lazy panda. Now, don't get me wrong, I like pandas. They're cute and cuddly and everything, but they'll rip your face off if they have to. But, and so will mountain apes, mountain gorillas,
Sure.
But the point is that apparently they're a little more intelligent than your average,
Than your
Now
average bear.
So that's why. Anyhow, but
No, I think those are good points. They obviously work on a lot higher intelligence.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Than anything else in the sticks. But a mountain lion can avoid being seen.
Oh, yeah.
Almost 99% of the time.
And they're usually right over your head.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I imagine a Sasquatch doesn't have much trouble avoiding us. But yeah, I think it'll all come out eventually, don't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, even not to plug Knucklehead's show, but even on Wes's show that he came out with, his most recent show he dropped, the first two guests, they both said the same thing at one point in the show. I think it was the guy who was saying how when he was looking at this thing down the creek, it dropped down and it was so fast that it was just gone. It was like he had to I think it was like he said it was almost like he wasn't even sure like what just happened. And the second person, this lady, said the very same thing, that it dropped down and it was gone, like it was just so fast. And it shows that a lot of these people are seeing the same thing, that are displaying very similar characteristics, and they obviously have a way about them that can be undetected. Like if somebody's seeing these things, and when you have your eyes locked on it, it can maneuver so fast that it almost looks like it disappears.
Right.
Yeah.
Like clearly these things can be undetected if they want to be. And it's incredible because they're reportedly so big and massive. Like we can't fathom how that's even possible. And even along those lines a little bit, people talk about how, they heard it walking, and it was just these heavy footsteps thudding through the woods. And it's like that in itself, it goes directly against the stealth thing. But at times it seems like it's like they don't even care.
Right.
But people will say that it was so heavy that they felt it vibrating in their body. And I find that really interesting because one of the guys that I work with, he's from Africa, and I forget what country in Africa it was, but that he's from. But his uncle or his great uncle was a hunter and one of the most revered hunters in the area. Like if there was something that needed to be killed, they got his uncle to go do it.
Wow.
And so this guy was out in the woods, out in the jungle, whatever it is over there, a lot. And when he was out there with his uncle, he heard, his uncle heard something in the distance, and he said, "We need to get going." And he's like, "What?" And then just as he said what, he heard this thud, thud, thud. And it was a gorilla coming towards them. And he said that when they heard it, he literally could feel the vibration in his body from this gorilla. God. And like we weren't even talking about Bigfoot. We were just talking about his homeland. Like Bigfoot wasn't even on the brain, but it kicked into my head because of all the stories that I've heard of that very thing happening with Bigfoot. And he said that gorillas over there are like, you see gorillas in the zoo here, and they're so not like that in Africa. They're much bigger. Right. He said that they're out in the wilderness so much that you can't even see their face because their face is overgrown with muscle and hair that you can't even really see their face. They're just like these wild giant monsters over there. Wow. And it just makes me feel like when you hear somebody tell you something like that from their homeland about gorillas, it doesn't make Bigfoot sound that far-fetched.
Right.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not at all.
You got to wonder, like, how in the hell can they? I mean, they're a big animal. There's no question about it. But when you think about the Earth feeling impacts from the ground,
that's huge. Being
that far away, what the hell are they doing? How is that possible? But I don't doubt that it is. It's just the amount of force that they can exert at will is just. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, it makes me wonder too. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Don.
Oh, I was just going to say, but let's, think about it this way, so we know that, it's been reported. We don't know anything. We know what's been reported, what's been analyzed, that kind of thing. But it's been reported that Bigfoot, if he doesn't want you in his area, he will, throw rocks. He'll make sounds. He'll imitate and mimic, So what's to say that he won't, stealthily come up on you and stomp or, and then all of a sudden disappear, because there have been reports of that as well. All of a sudden it's like, we don't know where it came from, but there was these footsteps and we went to investigate where it came from and there was nothing. So they know how to move in their natural habitat. We don't have any idea how to walk through the woods without making some kind of noise. However, I know how to walk down the street without being noticed. I can prove that. So I mean, if you know your habitat, your area, your place of where you go, where you've been, and you know how to move, you know how to do these things. So it's not really surprising to me.
Yeah.
So,
well, there is that.
Yeah, and even like when you think about when you're a kid and you're learning about the Native Americans and how they hunted and things like that. I know I learned this when I was a kid because I remember trying to do it in the woods all the time. I would try walking on grass and leaves real quiet, so quiet that nobody could hear me. And because I learned that Native Americans were able to do that, and that's how they were able to hunt so efficiently and things like that. And it's like, if Native Americans were able to do that because that was their habitat, I don't think that Bigfoot is human. That's my personal thoughts. But these things are clearly far more intelligent than any other thing out there that's not human. And why wouldn't they be able to do that? And then you hear stories of the Native Americans saying that, Sasquatch in their time back before we came here did make fires and things like that. And that it was the problems that they had because of them making fires, that they stopped making fires, they stopped being detected. And I used to think that was crazy until I saw on YouTube probably like 5 years ago, a bonobo learned how to make fire and make hamburger and marshmallow over the fire because he was obsessed about a YouTube video that he was watching. This bonobo was watching a video and obsessed over this person making a fire. He learned how to do it, and then he did it himself. And then you got these chimpanzees that are learning how to fish with spears because they saw humans doing it. And it's just like these primates are learning how to do things because they're obsessing over it and watching it. I mean, it's not that far-fetched that these Sasquatch out there have a similar abilities.
Right. Well, think of Jane Goodall teaching that gorilla sign language. I mean, they have intelligence. They're not stupid. Was it Jane? Wasn't Jane Goodall? It was.
There's Coco the gorilla learned sign language.
Right.
So, but I don't know who taught it to her.
But anyhow, the point is, I digress. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But you're right. I mean, but think about that. Somebody taught an ape or a gorilla how to speak in sign language, and they converse. They've got to have some kind of higher intelligence than what we give them credit for. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yowie, whatever you want to call him, Grassman, who cares, Momo, whatever, is smart enough to stay the hell away and know how to keep us away from themselves. So it's all about natural environment.
Just don't ever encourage campers to watch videos outside, and if they do, don't watch Planet of the Apes.
Damn you to hell!
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah,
exactly.
They don't realize how big they are.
Yeah. Now when I watched the Patty film the first time, the first thing I noticed was the stride, and the stride is very, very unique, and it's been covered to death. And I'm not trying to break any new ground here, but one of the first things I thought, with the amount of flexion on the foot nearly at a 90-degree angle to the knee, I was like, that is a being that has learned to walk in difficult terrain. With that high stride and the long, and that's why we trip like clowns going through the forest, because we lift our feet maybe an inch or so off the ground. And, these things have such a different way of locomotion that's just completely fluid and natural to them. But you're right. I mean, the fact that they can move silently, how many times have, people talked about, they can be heard when they want to. They can stomp and, be heard to intimidate the hell out of people to get them out of the area. But then they can go dead silent and be gone at the same time through impossible terrain.
Yeah, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm gonna roll. But before I get out of here, I got two things to say.
Okay.
One, complete disclosure. I've been recording on my end, and I was wondering if I could use this clip on part of my show for tomorrow, just for extra
that'd be
content for
beautiful.
people.
That'd be beautiful. Thank you. I'd be honored.
All right. Awesome. And two, since you're aware that people are listening on my end now, please wish them a happy 4th of July.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of all that Tony's doing, and we hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday.
Absolutely.
Don, anything?
Just glad to hear that there's so many people that are still interested in the 4th of July. And certainly, we know our friends Wes and Tony and everyone, Duke and everyone. We wish everybody a happy and safe, sane 4th of July. Thank you.
Yes. Everybody's interested in the 4th of July. Guns, beer, fireworks.
Watch this. Hold my beer.
Where can people get your show, man? Paranormal Portal.
Oh, you can check out the Paranormal Portal podcast everywhere that podcasts are. We do 3 of them a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays are generally ghost-related. Wednesdays are UFO, alien related, and Friday are cryptid related. And you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/paranormal portal. Check out our live streams. We have a long back catalog of that.
Yeah, we do.
And you can hear us on TFR live. That's our mother network for the radio show, and that's on Friday and Saturday nights, which is also broadcast on iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
I don't know how that happened.
We're like a bad rash.
You guys are doing it right. Yeah, you guys are doing it right. Get yourself out there and see what happens.
Yeah,
but anyways, thanks for letting me be on here, guys, with you and chat with you a little bit. It was fun.
Thank you,
Tony.
brother. It was great hearing from you. Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely. Wow.
Talk to you. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Wow, there you have it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool.
Oh, strange things happen in the portal.
There's never a normal episode. There isn't.
What is it? Is there a normal? Is there a normal?
It's a paranormal, Don.
It's all paranormal.
It's all paranormal up in here. That's how we roll. But
Wow, thank you for your call, Tony. We appreciate that.
that was a good talk. That was nice to kick back and just share some thoughts. It's almost like a round table here on the portal.
It's more like a round table in a square hole.
Well, it can be. I mean, there's no question. We can say some stupid stuff in a hurry, but I think that conversation went well anyway. So what else we got here, Don?
I am looking up somebody's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I want to make sure that
That you cite it correctly.
the cover came out.
I got 25 signs that your house is haunted.
Well, go for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Because I've got them all, I'm sure.
if you're ever wondering if your house is haunted, well, here's how you know. First thing to look for is unexplained cold spots in your house. We all know that it's believed, anyway, that spirits draw ambient heat energy to apparently subsist or to do activities that they wouldn't normally do, and so they often leave cold spots around. So if you feel weird cold spots in your house that doesn't make sense, then it could be a spirit. It sounds like a Jeff Foxworthy. You might be haunted if your lights flicker on and off on their own. Yeah, that can also be bad wiring or problems with your power station. But it can also mean ghosts, ladies and gentlemen. Ghosts don't seem to have any trouble really screwing up electronics. They can do it in a hurry, and it doesn't seem to be any problem for
Do
them.
it quite efficiently.
Yeah, and here's one, Don. Your television turns on and off without being touched.
I cannot believe that one. It's called a bad switch.
Sure.
That's all I got to say.
Okay. Well, there's that. I'm just reporting what I'm finding here. The next one is your phone rings with no one on the other line. That usually, I can only think of telemarketers. You answer your phone and like nobody's there.
They realized who they're calling.
Yeah.
This is Chuck Norris. Oh, never mind.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You smell something a bit more familiar, but aren't sure where it's coming from, like perfume, cologne, or smoke, possibly from a cigar. Or pipe tobacco is a big one, too. Now, I do believe that scents can be paranormal, but they can also be sometimes really explained away. Wood in homes can absorb odors, And if there's a raise or lowering of humidity or temperature changes, they can release that scent. So there can be really mundane reasons for smells.
Yep.
But they can also be paranormal. So
Sure.
there is that. Now, next one is you hear thumping on the floor above you or on the staircase when no one else is around. Yep. Okay. No disagreement there. You hear whispers or muffled voices when no one else is around. Yeah, that's that would be creepy. The next one, you see doors, windows, and cabinets open on their own. Truly could be paranormal. You see photographs get knocked sideways on their hooks. I've never seen that, and I'm in no hurry to, for what it's worth. I've seen things fall, but never photos or things rotating on their hooks. Your pet keeps staring at a certain area of the house or stays far, far away from a certain area of the house with no explanation. Yeah, pets aren't good at explaining things. So
My dog's been spending a lot of time in my studio, which is kind of the downstairs area of my house. I don't know why.
oh, that's cool. I would take it as a good omen then, right?
Wow, okay.
I mean, if they hang out there,
I think it's mostly because it's cooler down there than it is anywhere else.
did they get into the freezer or something? I got a roast sitting there behind that pillow. He wasn't even looking. I got it out. Okay. All right. You hear scraping on the walls. Yeah, that can also be squirrels and stuff. But
Squirrels, definitely.
you hear music coming from nowhere. Definitely not normal. You have a sense of someone standing behind you when nobody's visibly there. This, for me, is one of the big ones. I think we really do cue on this stuff from a ancient past. Like, we know when we're being watched. I think that's a sense that pretty much everybody has. You feel like you've been touched or grazed by unseen hands when you're all alone. Maybe. That could be.
Especially when you're asleep and you feel. Did it just go off again? No, it
No,
didn't.
that was just me exhaling.
Oh, okay. I forgot where I was going.
That's just me breathing, Don. You wake up with scratches or bruises across your body.
That could be a problem.
That could be. It could be restless sleeping or sleepwalking too. But, dude, I sleptwalked one time. Oh my God! Only in this house, by the way.
Really?
No, that's not true. I sleptwalked a little bit at a hotel one time too.
That'd be scary.
Well, I mean, you're kind of shut in your room, so you're not going to go too far.
Hopefully.
I'm telling you, I was sleepwalking. I remember kind of vaguely getting up, and then the next thing I know, I remember kind of foggily seeing myself in my living room. I'm standing in front of a rocking chair, and the next thing I know, wham! The rocking chair is hitting me in the jaw. I fell forward into the rocking chair from standing position and put the arm of the rocking chair in my jaw, knocked me backwards. And another time I was sleepwalking in this house, and I kind of like halfway woke up and then fell back asleep. And the next thing I know, wham, I'm landing on my back. It was terrible.
Wow.
That hasn't happened since, just a few times, but it was terrible.
You know, speaking of sleepwalking in a hotel, I would probably be the guy that would end up in the hot tub peeing in the hot tub. I was like, hey, what are you doing there? Huh?
Why is the water purple?
That's not true.
I know. It was funny.
just watch the movie Grown Ups.
Yeah, that was funny, though.
Oh, that's not true.
Don checked it out, to be sure. All right, so you never actually see objects moving from place to place, but you know it's been happening. You leave your keys on the kitchen counter, and they appear on your bedside table. That's deports and apports. Yep. You hear knocks when no one's at the door.
Black-eyed kids.
Well, yeah, but they're at the door waiting.
Hopefully, that way you don't think you're haunted.
Well, yeah, no, I'd rather be haunted. You hear laughter when no one else is in the house with you.
That's just Don.
That's just my other voices. You feel an electrical charge in the air. That's true. That comes up a lot in some really charged atmospheres where there's some stuff about to break off. Yeah, the high charged atmosphere is a huge one. Appliances stop working out of nowhere. I've experienced that in this house, actually. You hear voices moaning in pain. That would be terrible. That'd be a bad one.
Yeah, that'd not be good.
Yeah, that's not a good one at all.
That doesn't happen in my basement.
Can't hear him through the freezer. You see shadows moving out of the corner of your eye. That's a big one. That comes up a lot. And you hear someone calling your name over and over again. Never had that one happen. So those are the biggest ways to know if you're haunted, ladies and gentlemen. So
That last one's my mom. It's Donnie, Donnie, get your butt back over here. I hear that all the time still.
she call you Donnie?
I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the family name.
Donnie.
Donnie.
Donnie, you pick your underwear up and get out of here now. I don't even know what that means. It just came out.
I can't safely say that on the show. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Just saying it could have happened. I don't know. You may be haunted, Eve. That was my Jeff Foxworthy list for the night.
Goodness.
All right.
Wow.
Let's see.
God.
I got to look for something else here. We got about a half hour to go, brother.
I really truly can't believe it's only in half an hour left.
It's what happens when you have a good conversation.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Great minds, sir. Great minds. Let's see. I'm just finding these lists. I think they're fun. So.
Oh, so gosh darn it, what's going on? Her name was Dr. Penny Patterson.
She taught Coco?
Who taught Coco? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So my apologies. I take that one.
But Jane Goodall did actually find the bonobo. She
Right.
established that it was a separate breed
Right.
entirely.
A separate breed. Yeah. Absolutely. So there you go.
There you go.
Just want to make sure I cleaned up.
That's creepy that they can make fires and they can learn stuff like that. That's almost like what it almost sounds like is like an evolutionary change. You know, like they're going through this change where they're going to start figuring stuff out. You know, like they're going full Planet of the Apes.
Damn you
here.
to hell.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though? It's like all of a sudden they're spearfishing and lighting fires
Oh, no doubt.
from a video.
Yeah.
I mean, how the hell this bonobo get a video of people starting fires?
It must have been some kind of a controlled experiment. I mean, I hope
Well,
so.
I
don't know.
imagine. I don't know.
I'll have to look that one up now.
That is really, really curious, though. I imagine they don't have a lot of Wi-Fi out in the jungle, but it must have been in some reserve or whatever, some park that has bonobos, but
Right.
or bonobo or however you say it. Very wild. Let me pull up my go-to singular for
The Sweet Life of Bonobos.
What?
The title is Sex and Fruit. The Sweet Life of Bonobos.
Oh no! Wow. Well, this is a family show, Don.
Well,
so-
it was a National Geographic Live. Okay, so it's on National Geographic.
Right.
So it's legal. We can do that.
What? Was today the second was UFO day?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nobody told me.
Oh boy.
I'm serious. I didn't know that. So here's the interesting thing. Before I announced that Taps was coming back on the air, and that is Jason Hawes.
Right.
And I think it also has Dave Tango and Steve. What the hell is his name? I'll remember in a second. But they're coming back on the air, which is cool because I was always a fan of Ghost Hunters, and I thought they did a good job. But what I just found out is that apparently Ghost Hunters is also coming back with Grant Wilson at the helm. So somehow he got the helm of Ghost Hunters, and apparently Jason Hawes got Taps or something. So they're not going to be doing it together, which I was surprised to see, but I guess that would sounds like there might be some possible issues going on there that were never brought to light, and that's that's their business, not ours. But I'm kind of looking forward to both of those being on because I think Grant Wilson always did a great job too.
Right.
So it says Ghost Hunters TV show resurrected by A&E. Popular paranormal show Ghost Hunters is slated to reappear on television in 2019 after a 3-year hiatus with 20 new episodes ordered by cable network A&E. The program originally aired on Sci-Fi Channel and ran from 2004 through 2016. That's a hell of a run, really. 12 years. Grant Wilson will once again play a prominent role as lead investigator, although this time without former partner Jason Hawes. Instead, the team will be co-led by contractor and firearms instructor Daryl Marston. Wow. I don't know how that correlates, but along with the hypnotherapist and parapsychologist Kristen Kristen Luman's been around forever. Yeah, I mean, she does a nice job. She was on Ghost Mine or something like that. And joining them will be paranormal technician Brandon Alvis, paranormal historian and site analyst Mustafa Gotalari, I guess, former Marine and current construction worker Brian Murray, and ghost hunter Richel Stratton. Richel, Richel Stratton. Well, it might be a Richel or it might be Richel. That's true. I don't know. I don't know. It's a construction. Well, no, it's ghost hunter. I don't know. I don't know who Rochelle is or Rachel, whatever. Yeah, it might be because there's a second female there. I know that Kristen is the redheaded, the strawberry blonde. But let's see. The show promises to use the most innovative technology available to help normal, everyday people struggling with the paranormal. A departure from the accusations of paranormal tourism that plagued the original Ghost Hunters later seasons, and that it is still a hot button issue in the industry today. Ghost Hunters is one of 5 paranormal projects picked up recently by A&E, and others include reimaginings of psychic kids and celebrity ghost stories. I like celebrity ghost stories. I thought that was interesting. Psychic kids, that's Chip Coffey's deal. He was always helping kids dealing with their psychic gifts and, as they were coming to terms with them. And new projects, Trey the Texas Medium. They're ripping off the Long Island Medium there. And I think that was an A&E show, though, so I guess it's not a ripoff. Maybe it's just another approach to Teresa. The special, The World's Biggest Ghost Hunt, both of which are working titles and still in development. Paranormal worked really well for us in the past. A&E Network Executive VP and Head of Programming Elaine Fontaine Bryant told The Hollywood Reporter, "It feels like it's time in the country where there's a trend for people to be spiritual without being overly religious. I think paranormal programming can feed that while being entertainment forward." Oh, you can tell those are buzzwords. We don't want to be entertainment forward. Don't we all? Entertainment forward. Oh, God.
I wonder if they can get us an exclusive interview with them.
With who? With who?
With the ghost, with them.
Oh, with that whole crew?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool to talk to Grant. I'd like to hear what he's got to say about a bunch of things. Actually, he's been around the map quite a while, and he's done conferences even in his hiatus from Ghost Hunters. He's been doing the paranormal circuit for the whole for years. Mm-hmm. So, and he and his wife have a YouTube show called What the Fetch, and it's an entertaining show. They do a good job. So, yeah, Grant Wilson would be fun to talk to. We've ensured it's going to please the diehard fans, Bryant added. Regarding the updated Ghost Hunters, the show will be about helping people. The original Ghost Hunters could have been on A&E back in the day. A lot of A&E programming is about searching for the truth and emotional closure, and you could say that for a lot of these shows. New episodes of Ghost Hunters will premiere on Wednesday, August 21st at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on A&E. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Should be some good shows. We got another call, and this is from Miss Diane. How you doing, Diane?
Hey, how you doing?
Well, we're still here. Happy
holiday.
Happy 3rd of July.
3rd of July.
It's my dad's birthday. Today is my dad's birthday.
Listening to all the booms. Hi.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Love you. I gotta say, I'm kind of excited. Woo! No, I'm kind of excited. I have seen twice now, but I guess I need Jim Mount or somebody to be able to tell me who I saw. Okay. But twice I have seen pillar-shaped light ships.
What shape?
In my area.
What shape was that?
And they're a pillar shape.
Oh, pillar shape. Okay.
Like a big Tic Tac, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, only they're a lot. It was longer than a Tic Tac, though. It was
Right.
it was that kind of thing, though. It was a long light, and I saw it in the same spot in the sky. And both times, before I could get a camera on it, it disappeared, which just really annoys the heck out of me. It's like the bubble ship, and even if I would have got the double bubble ship that was going north to south, it would have been really hard to see because they are so high up that they're really small. You need a great camera for some of this, but it's really... so does anybody know what those guys are? I mean, we've got the triangular ones hiding in the plasma clouds. I know about them.
Okay. I don't know personally, but if anybody out there in the chat knows, please let us know.
Yeah, if anybody knows what those ones are, we got those. Disappeared. That's right, DH. Disappeared. I hate it. It's like I cannot get the camera on them in time, and I have seen so many things over this area, but they're fast. They're really fast.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, has anybody had... I have been having, and I'm wondering if it's just my area. I've had this, can't remember the word for things a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Like very airheadedness, and I've noticed a lot of people are, and it's people that usually aren't that way. They're pretty bright people, but yeah, you too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Weird. Yeah, something is up. The other thing I noticed too is I've had, once again, objects appearing and disappearing and reappearing.
Oh, okay.
Disappearing and reappearing. Again, like I set a glass down. I know I set the glass down there. There is no glass there. Darn, I get another glass. I pour it full. I turn around. There's the glass. There's glass A again. And I'm like, where were you?
Right.
5 seconds ago. When I was trying to... it's really weird, man. It's getting weird. I don't know what's going on, but something must be going on. And I was just wondering if anybody out there have any idea what's going on. And by the way, if there's anybody in the area that wants to make videos and stuff, I wouldn't really mind a partner to do this kind of thing with, because doing this all myself, I've been very remiss in doing this myself. If I had somebody else I kind of had to be accountable for, maybe I would get them out on a regular basis.
Sure. Yeah, it's tough.
But,
I understand what you're saying. It can be a lot of daunting processes, but I got myself a long beard, and and he helps me out.
Yeah, you got yourself. I was going to borrow him there for a minute for the U parts.
Nice.
I thought it wasn't for the megaliths.
Well, gosh, my brain just went 4 different ways because I'm reading as well. But I remember we were talking about, it was that episode that I was at home for because I was sick. And we were talking about O-parts, and she mentioned that. Yep. So at this time, I have no plans for releasing videos on my own. But there are definitely ideas that I want to cover. But I've decided the last weekend or so when I was here with Paisley that I'm not the star of the show. I can't do that. I can't do what Brent does. I'm the sidekick. Oh, well, you can be my sidekick sometime too someday.
There you go.
If I can borrow you. I need some I need, you know what? It's like I just if I'm left to my own devices, well, I'll go out and do things, sure, but then I'll just wander on down to the next hunk of interesting information and forget to do a video on the last hunk of interesting information. I'm really bad that way.
Yeah, I understand. I move through so many things so quickly that I forget that I have to finish a project. So, yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I have all these open projects. Like I have the clouds, and it's funny. Some of us have learned to see through the plasma clouds. When you see a cloud that's pretty much triangular shaped or weird shaped, I am told that is plasma. It's not really a cloud. It's something creating plasma around it, so it's hiding in a cloud. But I have a lot of pictures like that. We're still waiting for them to come out with the news about that. Yeah, we have stealth triangle-shaped triangle and what do they call them? The boomerang shape and
Yeah.
And then I have this thing that looks like almost like a necklace. It almost looks like a curved thing with beads, little round clouds, like a curved cloud with little round clouds on it that shows up in the west a lot around here that I've seen. I've captured a couple times that I got to get. I can't explain. I don't know what it is. But yeah, there are some very weird clouds, and I guess one of the shows said that those are definitely plasma when they're doing that. And I saw one form right in front of me. It was like I'm watching the sky, and I like to sit out and look at the sky, and all of a sudden I'm looking at this thing that looks a little bit weird. I'm looking at this kind of odd-shaped cloud, and I'm wondering, is that something? All of a sudden, this thing just went and got huge. Like, all of a sudden, the cloud, now that doesn't usually happen unless it's over a lake or something, where it's gathering a lot of water. You know, it would have to be doing that over a lake. It would have to get the water from somewhere. So where is all this I'm thinking, where is all this coming from? And then I'm remembering what this woman said is that they will make a plasma cloud around them. I'm like, oh, that's probably what that was. So, anyway, people are looking into this stuff. But so if anybody knows why we're airheads lately...
Well, wasn't there something supposedly with that last eclipse? Wasn't there supposed to be some energetic shift involved with that?
I'm going to have to research that a little bit because, yeah, the eclipses do activate. The eclipses are known as activators in the astrological way of looking at it in a metaphysical way. Is they activate. It's not that necessarily like these planetary conjunctions and stuff are one thing, but when the eclipses come along, they're activators. So there will be a chain of events that starts at an eclipse, a solar or a lunar eclipse.
Well,
So you don't always see results for a while.
Right.
Sometimes it takes a while to see what happened.
Well, remember, there was a solar eclipse over the southern hemisphere just 2 days, yesterday. It's 2 days ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so...
You're right. An eclipse. Something must have started.
Yeah, yeah.
Could be.
Okay, I'm going to have to find out what happened. Okay, I will. I'll look into it for you guys, for everybody.
Wonderful. Yeah, please do.
I bet you I will find something, too. Ha, ha, ha. So, yeah, I'm a nosy person. You know what I realized? That really I may be intelligent as well. Well, we're, some people could argue that. But anyway, I know one thing I am really inquisitive.
Sure.
So if something is going on, I will find it. And I will certainly come back and tell you guys, because you're my favoritist show. Of all of the shows, you're my favoritist.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, because you guys have really such a wide range, and we have such a nice chat room here, but there's something so lovable about the way that Britt delivers some of these stories with such an innocent face.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I know
it.
we're all out here in the chat room. I know we're all just looking, going, and he's reading that with a straight face. Okay.
Sometimes it's not easy.
Okay, so you're very professional. And some of these are just amazing. So, okay, I love you guys. I don't have much else to say, so I'm going to say sayonara for now. Love you.
All right.
Bye.
Love you, D.
See you now. All right. Very cool.
You know, she talked about, clouds and stuff like that. And it reminds me of those videos of clouds coming down out of the sky and bouncing off the ground and falling on, being cut like
cotton candy.
Like cotton candy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're really weird. I don't know what the hell's going on with those things.
But it always makes me go back to geoengineering, so, whatever. Geoengineered weather and stuff like that.
I don't know. I often wonder, there's legends, of course, of beings living in the clouds or some kind of sentient spirits in the clouds that go back in many different religions and cultures around the world.
Right.
And when I saw those videos, and they're really grainy. There's one that looks like it's in the Middle East, and there's one that looks like it's in maybe Chicago or somewhere in an urban area.
Right, it falls right down in the middle of the road.
In that parking lot. Yeah, it's just in that parking lot, and it's just kind of skimming along. It seems to move like it has purpose, like it's doing something.
Right.
And maybe it's some kind of advanced drone technology, really. I mean, could there be such a thing where it would just hold a field and look like a cloud? But I don't know. It makes you wonder. But those are some really cool videos, and I when I saw it, I was like, well, maybe that's what our ancestors were talking about, is seeing these things and attributing a lore to them.
Right, sure.
I don't know.
The sky is falling. The sky is
falling.
falling.
Could be, or we're just growing taller. One of the two.
Oh boy.
That'd be giants, I tell you. But that's all I know. Then that isn't a whole lot sometimes, but
sometimes it's a little less than not much.
Less than not much. Do you have anything you want to go through? Quick? We got about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Duke asked about the Tic Tac.
Okay.
Because they've been mentioned a couple times, and I really haven't found any specifics on what they are or what they look like.
Well, think of the DoD films that were released that we use in the break.
Right, exactly.
And actually, let me just pull one of them up quick. I'm just going to play this quickly for you guys. This is basically an example of the Tic Tac craft. So when they're describing Tic Tac craft, that's that.
Right.
That's these oddly shaped little Tic Tac like shaped craft.
Right. And they're generally reported as white and oval.
Well, that was and that might have been, but it was
right.
just that was in night vision.
Right.
So you're seeing kind of an opposite effect there.
And they were being chased off by
F-16s,
F-18s,
or F-18s,
yeah, F-18s, and so they move fast. And no apparent means of propulsion. They just don't know how they move. So I really haven't found any speculations on how big they were. I don't know if that's been reported, but it had to have been.
I think I ran across something. It was about the size of a car, an automobile, like maybe 15 feet.
Right.
Or something, but I might just be absolutely coming from left field on that one. But for some reason in my mind, I'm thinking like 15 or 30 feet in that range.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah. So it could be a man craft. I mean, it could be.
Sure.
But again, I don't know. It's really bizarre. It's really cool. Whatever they are, they're out there, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently one of those videos shows it going over the waves. And that's also in that break segment that I put together.
Yeah.
And I think they said that it was going against like a 250 mile an hour headwind as well. So against that in the raw footage.
Right. So let's see here. I just read something about that. Reminded him of images of something rapidly submerging from the surface like a submarine or a sinking ship. Disturbance appeared to be 50 to 100 meters in diameter. So this is as it was flying over the calm ocean. So that's pretty freaking fast.
That's pretty big. 50 to 100 meters. That's huge.
Well, that's kind of like the wake that it left behind it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. So there's that. But very cool stuff. Will more come out? I think they've got tons more that they could show, but they threw the bones out, and suddenly the Navy is coming out talking about the new methods of reporting.
Right.
But it's now, again, remember, that's reporting to themselves. It has nothing to nothing to do with reporting to us. So when you see that, don't get encouraged by, the Navy's going to start telling us about these things. No,
they're just talking amongst themselves.
They're just structuring a reporting system for the Navy to discuss these things with the Navy or the Pentagon or whatever. So it has nothing to do with disclosing it to the public, unfortunately. That, I'm sure, will be a long time in coming. I don't know. Could they be, in their submerged bases? Have you heard of that, Don? Obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That, there's so many sightings of these USOs and UFOs, and they seem to change roles. Like they can be above the water or they can dive right into the water. Mm-hmm. There's a legend of a huge underground or under ocean base just off of the coast of California. Right. There's all kinds of wildness out there.
Well, you remember the movie The Abyss, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that'd be so awesome in a manner of speaking.
It would be. Yeah. I remember that.
I wonder if that's where mermaids come from.
Oh, well, welcome to your world, Don. That's what happens underneath that beard, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard it live.
So I looked up the
Good night,
bonobo.
Cryptids and Myths and Mysteries with Lee McNew. It's good to meet you. Thanks for stopping in.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful night. Wonderful to see you. What were you saying?
So Kanzi is the name of the bonobo.
Okay.
And so he lit the fire with a match. So definitely controlled experiment or controlled observations, I should say.
But he learned that quickly.
He learned how to use the match.
Right.
So,
now that's an awareness.
And then he cooked food on it. So yeah,
He actually cooked food.
Yeah, it says then cooking his meal on the fire.
Wow.
So there you go.
Oh my God, that is.
He likes his steak a little extra rare.
I would let him prepare my steak.
Yeah, hey.
That's how I like them.
Just get it dark on each side.
I want it so rare that a good vet could have it back on its feet.
Oh God.
Sorry, that just comes to mind. No, I don't like it that rare. I like it to be. I like it not to resemble what I took home from the butcher. So I like it to have the nice char marks and stuff. Oh, by the way, Mrs. Portal made ribs, dude. Oh my God.
No way.
She used brown sugar and some Indonesian spices. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. It was just out of pocket. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go old school on you. That was all out of pocket. Know what I'm saying?
I didn't get any.
No, I know. I wasn't gonna let her unveil them until I was sure. But they were really good. They were as good as yours, which was really cool because you are like the king of ribs.
Duck sauce is on the phone.
Oh, let's get to duck sauce and have a chat. Sorry. Welcome to the show. 423. You are on the air.
Hey, guys.
Hey. What's going on?
Howdy.
Howdy.
Sorry about the last-minute call here.
Oh,
I'll make it a quick one. Respect your time. I had a sudden thought on what I was talking to you about simulcasting to Facebook.
Oh,
right?
sure.
I got to thinking about it, and he did have problems simulcasting to Facebook. But whenever, like, I or somebody else just links a live feed to Facebook, his server is now not part of the equation. It's now between YouTube and Facebook. So the signal never drops. So there's one thought on why it might work. Anybody could do it, I suppose.
Okay. So in other words, you could
link the show's link to your
Right.
Facebook Paranormal Portal.
Oh, sweet. Oh, so after we go live. Okay. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. Any time during the broadcast. I could do it this moment, like any time during the broadcast. And also I guess you'd be kind of building a library of your episodes on Facebook, I suppose, because the links will always be there. if you wanted to do that.
Right. Yeah, and that's certainly a possibility. Like I said, we tried it before, but it kept folding on us. Remember that, Don, when we tried to simulcast
it
to
was
both?
a mess.
Yeah, one would drop or the other would drop, and it was like they were just really competing with each other. I was like, oh my God. And we used a service called Restream. Restream's supposed to split that up and handle giving each platform its feed, but for some reason Facebook was just so incredibly temperamental. So we kind of gave up.
I suppose one downside to that is you won't be able to see the Facebook chat.
Oh yeah.
Well, Don could pull up a Facebook chat though, right?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, most definitely. It would still be using your home's internet connection and
Sure.
maybe a drain on your system, but quickly check in on Cherie does that often. So just check in on chat real quick, pop back off, address anything if it needs it, or bring up questions that were raised or whatnot.
Oh, very cool.
Excellent.
I appreciate that, brother. That's a great idea, and that's something we can certainly do. I'm not opposed to us being on both platforms. That's fantastic. And if it would raise exposure for the portal, I'm all for it. But yeah, we'll
Like
we'll look into doing that.
go ahead. Like I was saying in your chat and YouTube here earlier, I was like, I've started to kind of weave Paranormal Portal's Facebook link into conversations that I'm having on Facebook. So that kind of brings it's the links right there. They click on it. Oh, what paranormal? What is this? Let me check this out.
Well, that's wonderful,
I
brother.
mean, it's a good idea, right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I encourage anybody to do that, please. It'll definitely help us get some recognition.
Yeah, it actually it weaves it into the natural conversation of things.
No, I appreciate that. Very cool.
So just two more things I want to touch on quickly.
Sure.
One of the things, and I've been trying to bring this up in chat, and I don't know if nobody saw it or not, but it's an interesting thought on Bigfoot. I'm kind of new to all the Bigfoot and whatnot, but I'm kind of wondering if it's not like they don't respond like a cosmic mirror, right? Like I've been listening to your stories about Bigfoots and people who scream, the Bigfoot screams.
Mm-hmm.
A little child who's lost in the woods. He has no prior expectations of, well, I don't know if I'm scared or not. I'm not anything. So the Bigfoot's maternal or they react however. If you're violent towards them, they seem to be violent towards you. Or if you're scared, they seem to be. So I'm kind of wondering if they don't just respond to humans, whatever they put off.
No, that makes sense, and I know that many things in the animal kingdom do. Like even dogs are, according to Caesar, the dog trainer, he says that the dog will definitely be its disposition will be a reflection of the owner, and so if the person's high strung and wound up, the dog's going to be high strung and wound up. But if the person is calm and relaxed, the dog will be. So they definitely cue in on an emotional level, which sounds like a lot of empathy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bigfoot Sasquatch were not only capable, but if that wasn't exactly it. Now, there are sometimes stories that come up though where people swear the look on their face is like, I just want to kill you, but I can't. Like they can't do it. That does come up from time to time.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, that does come up time to time. And so even if the person is just like really, frozen and not able to do anything, the look on the face is just like disgust, like, oh, I hate you guys. And maybe they had a negative experience or something with a person in the past. You don't know, but, I think you're onto something.
True.
Yeah.
Or it could be the case of things like, what are they called? Gargoyles, right? Or things that I've seen in other realms that at first appear very, very terrifying or shocking or scary or whatnot. But then as you kind of look at them, they're really not. They're really not. They're not. It's almost like a mechanism to scare something off. If you're not supposed to be here, I'm scaring you away. Right. But if you are supposed to be here and everything is on the normal, then they just they kind of look normal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It makes perfect sense, and it's actually a pretty profound observation. Don't get me wrong. I'm pleased that you came to that conclusion. I think the same way, and I have for a long time. But it's one of those things that it's hard not to be in a state of shock or fear when you're confronted with something that's 8 or 9 or 10 feet tall, 1,200 pounds of all muscle mad at you. It's hard to get to that mellow, peaceful place, Yeah,
I'm totally not blaming the humans. I'm not blaming the humans at all. I'm pondering whether these things that I'm bringing up might have validity somehow.
Sure. No, I think they do. I think you're right on it. But, I don't know. It would take a hell of a lot of training to be able to stay in that Zen space, even when confronted by such an overwhelming force,
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I'd probably piss on myself. I'd mess myself. Sorry.
Sure. No, that's fine.
That's probably how it would go with me. And the third final note, and you're running out of time, but the third note, Don.
Yes.
I've been wanting to say this to you for a while now. Props on the beard, man. I tried growing a beard. It takes mad discipline to grow a proper beard.
It does.
It's freaking awesome, man.
It
Props.
does. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to get commented on it. Now I'm going to have to figure out how Tony Merkel has a line of beard balms and oils. So I'll have to figure out how to do that, and so I can provide it to my bearded brothers in the portal.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Thank you,
Grease
sir.
your flavor saver with Paranormal brand.
There you go. There you go.
Flavor saver.
Oh, my.
All right, guys. Love you guys, man. I enjoy your shows. I appreciate everything you do. You
Excellent.
guys have a great night.
All
love
right.
you.
Thanks, bud.
Love you too, man. Thanks for calling in and being a part of it.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our journey here tonight on the portal. It is 9 p.m. Pacific time, which means it's time to go.
Time to go. Yeah.
Time to go.
Doggone, it's almost bedtime.
Yeah, it's almost time for bed.
All I gotta do.
I'll do that tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So, guys, we love you all, of course. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Don, anything in closing?
Well, Paisley Wild now has 2 shows. She is on TFR on Friday night at 11 and Saturday directly after the portal on TFR. So give it a listen if you're into that kind of thing, which is esoteric, occultish, paganism kind of stuff. I enjoy listening to her. So,
Yeah.
But anyhow, other than that, no, nothing else other than thank you once again. Don't forget to check out the podcast, and Teespring is where our store is. So that's teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal.
And you can find some sexy portal gear that will show your portal pride.
Yes.
And it'll also help us finance this mess. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Wait a minute.
What?
Did Paisley, are you saying that both your shows are following the portal now on Friday and Saturday? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what she's saying. So Friday and Saturday, spaces between on TFR and 9 o'clock right after the portal.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there you have it. It's all set and ready to go, and we're ready to go. So
We are. We're wrapping it up and calling it a day.
we love you guys. It's hard to say goodnight, but good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Miss
I
you.
can't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, and happy 4th of July.
Oh, yeah. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Please be safe. And, if you're going to party responsibly. Make sure somebody's doing the driving if you are imbibing. So be careful. Don't light those things
Keep
carelessly.
your fingers, eyes,
Yeah,
toes.
yeah.
Keep them all where they're supposed to be.
Right. So, not that we're trying to nanny you, but we love you. We love you just as you are.
And we want you safe.
And we'd love you the same without a few fingers, but, it makes it easier to type. So, good night, guys. We love you.
Good night.